Ladies and gentlemen,
let's get fired up.
I have thought a lot in the last 24 hours.
Time to get your weekly sports fix
By the skin of their teeth, they lost.
Then you can just ride it the whole thing.
with Stix
Barcot, my man. Pasco's
What's going on? What's going on, brother?
Pasco's greatest high school girls basketball coach of all time is in the house. Yo, this
Soon to be neighbor.
this soon to be neighbor. Hey, for everybody out there listening to this, by the way, everything's said on this podcast and the YouTube channel. Make sure you don't tell moms, Teresa Hall. She doesn't need to know. She's in dark on this one, so it's gonna be a surprise.
My bad.
No, it's good. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it anyways, because man, this packing shit, bro. Oh my god, I don't even know. The last one we did was 3 weeks ago, and it doesn't even feel like that, man. I've just been going. It's been fucking crazy, dude. I don't even know where the time. I'm fucking exhausted too, by the way. But
I imagine. I can imagine. Of course, you
one
haven't
more
taken
day.
anything down off the wall.
what's that? Actually,
haven't
that's
taken
about
anything
all.
down.
That's about all that's left, bro. That's about all
I
that's
got
left. I
you.
gotta wait for the bubble wrap and shit I ordered finally. So gotta get those. Can't let Mr. Griffey over there go into shambles. That's my prized possession right there. Shout out to the Hindu golf tournament for that piece a few years ago. That was the best one there, and I got it. But man, what's going on with you? How much more school you guys got left?
I am done on Wednesday. They have school until the 15th over here, but I teach seniors, so Wednesday's checkout day. So I actually gotta sit down and do. I've got one class where I've got a ton of grading left to do in it. The rest of the classes is just whatever kids have been turning in since last Friday. Well, I stopped taking stuff last Friday, so whatever's been turned in by Friday is what I've got left to do, and then I'm done. I'm coasting. I'm on basketball schedule for the summer, and then that's it, man. That's it.
What kind of basketball schedule you got going on for the summer? You guys got a lot of tournaments just with the girls or what?
Yeah, just with the girls. We only do June because they're all AAU girls. All the new incoming ones. We've only got one returner from last year's third place team, so we're gonna struggle this year. But the young group I had come in and play JV at the last tournament in Walla Walla this past weekend, they went undefeated. So they're next year is when they come into high school. So they're a year away. But yeah, we just go on weekends. So we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we play Friday through Sunday. And then we'll wrap it up, I think, June 23rd when we get back from Gonzaga, and that'll be it.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'll be done. June 23rd, I'm packing it in.
Gonna enjoy that summer on the state and the teacher salary, baby.
That's right, baby.
That's right. Well, we're gonna get into some MLB, but before we get started, shout out to the anonymous big homie for being anonymous out here in the real world again. But he'll be back soon. Check out the Sports Fix with Stix and Anonymous Big Homie YouTube channel. Subscribe. I know y'all like White Men Can't Jump, the audio and the video version of Sidney Dean and Billy Hoyle. That's us. I hope we don't get any copyright infringements or anything like that, but that's just how we roll. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show on whichever podcast platform you listen to. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015. Follow Anonymous Big Homie at homie_anonymous. This dude, Aaron Barcot, doesn't have a Twitter. He stays under the radar. So, but hey, you could hit us up with any hashtag questions. We'll make sure we hit them all, especially those Yankee questions for Barcot, because I need some Yankee haters out there to put this guy in place. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today. I don't know if I'll be able to do it today because we'll get into that here in a second. But cool, Barcot.
100 win guess you made for the Mariners.
I know. We're going to get into all sorts of MLB action today. So we're going to keep this as short as possible. So 60 minutes, we'll attempt to keep it there for y'all because the last one was a little bit long. But hey, if you missed out on the last episode 3 weeks ago, bro, that was fire. We hit on everything. So if you guys all want to go back and check that one out too, I put all the timestamps on the YouTube video. I put it on Facebook for all y'all too, with the timestamps, because we went over everything within us, Big Homie and Aaron Barcot that week, man. We got into cancel culture. We got into umpiring. We got into all sports, MLB, NBA, NFL. Like I said, man, we just had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So that's why it was so long. Next time when we do it, we're going to chop it up. So we'll just cut it off at an hour and then do it and go from there. But anyways, my man, what we went over everything's going over there. You're almost done with school. You're going to have a new neighbor, AKA me, right down the street. So we're going to have some good times, and we'll get this all moved over next 2 weeks, bro. It's close, man. It's close. I'm excited, but it's close.
Would you say the 20 what now?
The 18th.
18th.
Yeah. Okay. The 18th. So even though you said 3 weeks ago that you'd be there to help unload, you're going to be out of town, you little bastard.
I'm going to be at Gonzaga camp. That is going down.
Yeah, of course.
And we leave on the 17th. We leave on the 17th, so it's real convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. You and homie there both backing out. But let's start with what do I have? I have a bunch of little notes here. So let's start with the Mariners, because I know we're going to talk a little Yankees, because I have some questions for your Yankees too, and I'm actually mildly impressed with those clowns. I'd hate to say it, but mildly impressed. So we got the Mariners here. They won three series wins in a row: Houston, Baltimore, and Texas. Woo, big whoop, right? Should have, win 10 games in a row, and I'm going to be excited. I'm not going to be excited about a series win right now. When you have to go, I did the math today, because I know you would follow me. You would do this for me if I didn't.
Right.
A 703 win percentage is what they have to get to my 100 win total right now. 703. I put a poll out on Twitter for everybody out there. Check out my Twitter at Stix015. Poll be up for another. If you listen, I don't know if you'll get to listen to this by now, but by the time it's done, but you can check it out. The poll on Twitter was Mariners over 500 or Mariners under 500 or Mariners over 500, no doubt. Right now we got the Mariners over 500 is at 38%, and the Mariners under 500 by All-Star break. I failed to mention that. So by the All-Star break, under 500 is 63%. So I don't know if did you get a chance to listen to the audio I sent you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So that was, we were talking about this last night offline, Barcot. That was kind of funny, because I was like, man, I wish I could find that. And I just happened to have it on my phone. So 6-1 last year, we were doing a podcast. I don't know who was on there, but we were doing the podcast last year, and that was when the Mariners were under 500. And I said, they won't sniff 500 again for the rest of the year. Look what happened last year. They ended up hitting those 90 wins. So I'm going to stay with my Mr. Negativity on this one. But the interesting thing is, now they got 3 at Houston starting tonight. Then they come home with three with the Red Sox, 3 with the Twins, 5 with the Angels, which is kind of weird having 5 games in a row.
Yeah, is there a rainout makeup or something like that?
I was trying to figure it out, because one of those games is a doubleheader too. I think it's that Saturday actually.
It's got to be a rainout that was getting made up or something.
Yeah, and then 3 at Oakland, and then 3 at LA Angels again. So there's 20 games right there. You want me to not be Mr. Negativity? You better win these 20 games in a row. That's what
they got 8. They got 8 games with the Angels in the next 20 games.
Yeah,
they got a 5-game series and then a 3-game series, right?
Yep. Yeah,
that's a lot of games. That means they're going to barely see them they'll barely see them throughout the rest of the summer, or they're just barely going to see them in September.
Yeah, it's crazy, because there's
they have at least one series. Haven't they had one series with them already?
Yeah, I was just trying to see. I think they've had to have played them once.
Okay.
But it must have been at home, because they haven't traveled. This will be the first series when they go to Oakland and Anaheim where they actually play a road game in the time zone that you're in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Road series in the time frame that you're in.
I
So
hear what
just real quick, or not real quick, but the thing I want to talk about the Mariners is what's really irking me right now. Well, there's some good things. There are some good things. Eugenio Suarez is starting to hit a little bit. Winker's still doing his Winker thing. I mean, he's not striking out. He's just not putting the ball in play. He's still getting on base. Julio Rodriguez is the real deal after those first couple weeks, right? Getting
he's
bounced
taking
back.
off. He's pushing 20 steals already.
Yeah, I was gonna say leads the league in stolen bases, so that's dope. Cal Raleigh does nothing but hit home runs and extra bases, so that's good. Shout out to my boy Jordan Byron, because he mentioned that on Twitter the other day, but he is correct. So I just want to know where, and then tell me this: how does Kyle Lewis get hit in the shoulder with a slider and then goes into concussion protocol for 10 days or 7 days or whatever the hell it is?
The guy can't stay healthy.
I know, and to your credit, Barcot, you said that. What was it last year we were talking about that, or earlier this year we were talking about Kyle Lewis?
I think we talked about him both summers, both the last 2 summers, because
most of the time,
outside of the COVID season, he hasn't really done anything.
But it's crazy, and he was off to it. I mean, he's only played in 4 games since he's been back up, but I mean, you know, hitting 267, he had those couple bombs, but I mean, if he could just stay healthy and get back in there. And then speaking of healthy, did Haniger break his damn leg, or is it just an ankle sprain? I mean, that guy's been gone for a month again. And I'm not hating on Mitch Haniger. I'm just saying, where's the protocol in these things?
I do think when he got hurt, I think we did talk about this right after he got hurt. Or maybe it was that 3 weeks ago. We did talk about that he's going to be out for a while. So I don't know what it is, but at the time he went on the disabled list or IL or what have you, they did say there was no timetable for his return. So I don't know what he's done to it, but I do recall us talking about he's going to be out for a while, at least a month. So
I think we talked about that 3 weeks ago when he was already out for a couple weeks. So it's been, 4 or 5 weeks now. So
correct.
That's crazy. But I'd like to, once Mitch gets back and healthy and stays healthy, that'd be a nice addition. I'm still interested in this Justin Upton signing. I mean, I know they got him for cheap, but what the hell is he doing? I mean, if he's in Arizona training or getting ready or whatever, I think maybe he's with the Rainiers now. I'll have to look into that.
Was he of the brothers? Was he the one that was with Anaheim last or most recently?
Yeah, he was most recently with Anaheim, and they still owe him like $20 million or something crazy. So
that's not as bad as the Mets. The Mets, I think, still owe Cano $43 million.
Oh my gosh! And then he got DFA'd from
San Diego. Yep.
San Diego the other day too. So, oh shit! Gosh dang it! I love it. There we go.
But I think at this point, because the Mets owe him that contract, I think the way it works now is that basically anybody can sign him for the major league minimum. It's just
He's just floating around. If anybody wants to pick him up and pay him a little bit, then he's good. So, I think I still like this Mariners roster. I think they're going to be okay. You still got Winker and Suarez. Like I said, they got to come around. But Ty France is unbelievable. I mean, what's that dude hitting 330s right now? So
he was in the 340s for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, shoot. How do you go up from 330? You have to get 3 hits a game and go 3 for 4 or whatever to get to raise that average. But yeah, he's looking good. But man, these Mariners. I know we text a little bit offline, but Robbie Ray is not the answer at this point, and I hope that he comes back to bite me in the ass a little bit. I do have him on my fantasy baseball team. But
that pitching staff is that starting rotation is terrible.
I don't understand. Well, it's not the fact that they're just terrible. It's the fact that they give up they give up the runs at the wrong time. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last like few games or the last few weeks seems like I haven't had a chance to stay in tune. So I'm kind of blubbering a little bit here, but just because all the shit's going on. But it feels like every freaking time the Mariners starters are on a roll, they give up that one bad pitch, 3-run homer, 2-run homer, whatever. And then the bullpen comes in and their bullpen is not the bullpen of last year. And then if I see Sergio Romo give up another home run in a next outing, I swear to goodness, oh my gosh, that guy hasn't been, solid this year, in my opinion, and from what I can remember, because the last 2 games, he's probably given up 6 home runs in the last 2 outings. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
and I do think
better.
And I do think, you bring up Robbie Ray. He has been, now, again, when I say this, we're talking about what he's compared to, right? He's the defending Cy Young Award winner. So he's supposed to be an ace. So when I say this, we're talking about in terms of aces, not overall pitchers, because clearly his numbers are better than a lot of guys out there. But as an ace, he has been god awful. He's still approaching 5, isn't he, on the ERA? If it isn't gone over 5, I think the last time
if it's not over 5, it's definitely close.
Yeah, I mean, he's just getting raked. And so as an ace, that's not, when you roll your ace out there, you're setting the tone for that series, or he's pitching game 3 of the series, so he's closing the series out for you, one or the other. It's just he's consistently left the Mariners in a bad situation, either starting a series poorly, or even if, like you said, where they get a little bit of momentum, and then he goes out and gives up 6 runs in the 3rd and final game of the series. And now they come out of what could have been a potential, momentum, and now their ace just gets raked going into the next series.
I mean, and I don't know if I don't think I necessarily disagree with the Mariners starting pitching being terrible, but when your ace is the most terrible out of the 5, and then you got Gilbert, and you got, surprisingly, in my opinion, Marco. I mean, everybody hypes Marco up, and he's actually fulfilled his duties as a starter the last few games. I mean, he's only given up a few runs, but then again, he gave up the big home run the other day after he had a good outing. And I think I don't know if I mentioned Kirby. I like him a lot. Gilbert, obviously good. And then you got Flexen in the rotation there, who just hasn't got any run support. And he was solid last year. Probably the most surprising starter on the Mariners staff last year, with coming over from Japan, which is nice to see. It's just, you can't win games when you're not scoring more runs than the other team, Right. And when you give up 3 runs on a bomb and then you only score 1 or 2, and you have to facilitate those runs all the way towards don't even get those runs until the 7th or 8th. You got to start jumping on something early and get that run support for your pitchers to live it up. Because my running joke to people to everybody out there that I talk to, my boy Jordan out at work, and then, homie and you, is the Mariners will score 3 runs in an inning, but I guarantee you 90% of the time, the next half inning, they're going to give up 1 or 2 runs. Right. And it just baffles me when that happens every freaking time it happens. So I don't know. I'm still attempting to be optimistic, but check out the Twitter poll. We'll see what that ends up being. After, I think it's at midnight tonight, it ends up, because I kind of did it the other late night. You never know what I'm doing at midnight. Sometimes my drunken stupor.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, my drunken stupor. I had to throw something up there. So, anything. Anyways, that's my Mariners spiel. I had to get it out. I had to get it out there real quick and see what's going on. I think that's all I really had. Oh, I did have one more thing on the Mariners, and then I want you to elaborate on whatever you wanted to discuss if you have anything on the Mariners too, sure. Barcot, brother. But now that Kellenick's sitting down, I think he has like 11 game hit streak, hitting over 300, has like 4 or 5 bombs or something like that. But he's still striking out a lot. So let's not jump to conclusions and to say this guy's back and ready. He needs to get his head right and get his mental game going back, and then be that guy. And I wish nothing more than the best for Kellenick, especially if he can come back up and then be that piece towards the end of the season when, throughout the year, every team's going to have injuries. So then we get Kellenick back towards the end of the year and puts that file, especially if who knows what happens with Haniger, how he's kind of been that injury prone to the last couple years, 3 years actually. So we'll see what happens. So Kelnick, keep doing your thing. I know you're going to hear this. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon once you get your head right and you get that back going still. Because, I mean, the defenses wise, he wasn't hurting the team at all. So
right. I do. So, like, to elaborate on it, not the injury to Kelnick, but just back to the Mariners pitching staff. I mean, their offense is not bad. It's kept them in games. I mean, for a team that's been as bad as they've been, they're only 14 runs upside down on the run differential. The problem has been that pitching staff where they are, like, I think 10th in the American League in runs given up. So they're the bottom third of the American League in runs allowed. Not that, again, not necessarily their ERA, which is, I think last I checked, is over 4. But they are tied with Anaheim, who's been just absolutely destroyed. I don't know what's happened to Mike Trout. He's like in an 0-for-25 something until last night. Picked up the hit. By the way, shout out to my fantasy league team that still won despite the fact that he and Walker Buehler combined for -6 points for the week. We still won pulling away and led the league in scoring. But I mean, so you talk about, remember you talking about they're going to be the 100-win team, not today, but at the beginning of the season, right? And because they've won 90 games and they did have a good young lineup. They spent a lot of money. Well, you weren't wrong in terms of the hype because you had a good young lineup. You had spent a ton of money to get the Cy Young Award winner. So it looked like you were addressing holes on the team that had 90 wins. When you look at it, you've got the teams that lead their divisions. The Yankees have allowed 156 runs. Minnesota, 217. Cleveland's crawled back into within 5 games. They've allowed 199. Houston, 175. Seattle's approaching 240. So when I see when you talk about that pitching staff, they're not living up to the expectation of what good quality teams do. And we both know pitching and defense is what matters in the postseason. And so right now again, what are we? Let me look at it.
50-something.
54 games in, so you got 108 games left. But I mean, you're right now to the point you're well over a third of the way through, and you're not pitching like a playoff team pitches. You're not dominating on the hill, which is what most teams do. You know, that's how the Dodgers have done for you. Now this year they're doing it with their offense, the Dodgers, but you know, that's how they were doing it for years. And just, you know, the Cleveland Indians for years used to lead the league in ERA, and Houston when they were going good. Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander, and then Victor Greinke. Of course, Atlanta, you know, those teams are always teams that pitch well. And right now, the Mariners just aren't getting it done on the hill. I mean, when you're bottom third in the league, runs allowed, you're not a true playoff contender at that point in time. I mean, because your offense isn't going to explode in the postseason because you're going to see good pitchers every game. So, you know, they've got to get some things done on the hill. And there's plenty of time to have guys turn things around, flex, and start getting some run support. You know, start getting things turned around. But right now, that's what's killed them. It's just they're not competing on the hill the way playoff teams do.
And you know what? And it starts tonight, and this is a Monday episode, but it starts tonight with Robbie Ray on the mound against the leading AL West Astros, right? And this is what you have to see from your ace, quote unquote, tonight on the mound to see, you know, where you're – what kind of bravado and where he stands on the rotation and what he's going to do, because he has to be lights out tonight. I know it's only, like I said, 50 games in, but in my opinion, he has to be lights out tonight, show why they paid him this money, why he's here, and to make it happen and get it started tonight. Because like I referenced to earlier, last year on 6-1, I made the comment they're never going to sniff 500 again throughout the year. You know, they're below 500 right now at 24-30. All-Star breaks in a month and a half. So we'll see if they can get that fight like they did last year in the second half of the season. So interesting to see, but I'm going to be very disappointed. You'll probably get a few texts from me tonight about how angry I am if it doesn't go the right way.
And like I just had mentioned at the beginning of the show, what you said, Robbie Ray on the mound against Houston tonight, that's exactly what we talked about, where your ace has to start the series for you, and he's got to set the tone. And if you go out and he's terrible, now you're putting pressure on your 2, your 3, those two guys now have to sweep in order to get another series win. So he sets the tone tonight. If you can go out and pitch well and they get a win, now the second, third starters, they don't have to worry about going 2-0. As long as one of them picks up the win, now you've won a series, and there you go towards another game closer to 500. Starting to dig out of that hole. But if he loses it tonight, now you're asking the 2 and 3 starters to go undefeated. Otherwise, you're going to end up dropping another game in the 500 area, another game below 500, and now you're just slipping further. So that's why it's important to set the tone with an ace, and that's where I was mentioning the fact that he has definitely failed that role in terms of setting tones or closing series out for him. He just hasn't been able to do it, not with a 5-run ERA. And Houston obviously can still hit the ball. So we'll see what he does tonight. But tonight's going to be a big one for him. He's got to get up there and set the tone and get this thing going, get this thing rolling again.
I agree. So before we get into your Yankees, and appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on this podcast. Been around a while. So
let's say cheers to the Yankee conversation that's coming. I'm excited for it.
Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers to the Yankee conversation that's coming up. But what's baffled me? I was looking at the team wins, right? It's kind of funny. Baltimore, who we all know is terrible, they have 23 wins. Mariners have 24 wins. And other thing that kind of is funny is the Cincinnati Reds, who started 2-25, and now they're 18-35. I don't even know, something crazy like that. They're 18-35 now.
They're literally 16-10.
Yeah. So I mean, and you got the Mariners that are, like I said, 24 and 30, but you need to not be in a conversation with those bottom level teams when you're going to attempt to break a curse and move forward and hit this playoff run. So we're going to see tonight. Robbie Ray, you're the man. You're going to make it happen. I have good positive vibes today, after everything I just said. But anyways, all right, Barcot, you took time out of your day. I have to give you the floor and I have to give you the props. I do have some questions for you, but
sure.
About your Yankees. Let's start with the immaculate question. The most one that I think the best one that I think a lot of people are going to want to know. And I'm on the side of, do the Yankees break the 116 win record that was set?
No.
You don't think so? They're on pace for 120.
They are, but you've got a pitching staff loaded with guys that have not. Garrett Cole notwithstanding, because he only got hurt for the first time in about 5 or 6 years last year when he got the tight hamstring, and he missed about 3 or 4 starts, and then they got kind of iffy as to whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if people remember, but there was a moment when the Yankees had like a 5-game lead, and they were actually the number 1 wild card seed. And when he went on the DL, the pitching staff fell apart, and they actually dropped out of the 1 seed, which is why Boston had it, and almost dropped out of the wild card. So they rushed him back, and he had like a 7-run ERA to close out the season because he clearly wasn't healthy. And then he got bombed in that playoff game. My point being, as good as that rotation's been, and it has been lights out, I think the pitching staff has like a 2.70 ERA or something, but you're riddled with guys that have not finished seasons. I mean, Jordan Montgomery has never had a 33-start season that I'm aware of. Coming into this year, Luis Severino as well as hadn't pitched. I think he's had 8 innings pitched in 2 years. You've got Jameson Tyone, who's been lights out, and he's got a quality arm. He did very well in Pittsburgh, but he's also a guy that said not one. He's one of those rare. He's had 2 Tommy Johns. So, I mean, I wouldn't bank any money on him getting another blowing his elbow out again. But he's battled cancer. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. Last year, he had an ankle injury that kept him out of the rotation for a while. And so you've got situations like that where I just don't think the starters hold up for 160. Because to go 116 wins and the Yankees do 114 and 98, you think about those 2 teams, the Yankees and Mariners, when they set those records, they didn't have starters out. They didn't have starters out for lengthy periods of time. They didn't have a whole lot of injuries, really. put them, set their lineup back a little bit or set the rotation back, or they didn't lose a closer for a month. So not only were they good teams, but they got lucky on the health side. And I would be shocked if this Yankee rotation could go 162 games without somebody having to miss some time. I would just be blown away by it. I really would. And their bullpen, like you mentioned, the Mariners bullpen this year is already not as good. I think, look, Guazica had a 2-something ERA last year. His ERA is over 7, and he's out with a shoulder inflammation. Chad Green's out with Tommy John surgery. We haven't seen Roldis Chapman in about a month, and he looks to have lost his closer role. So they're patching this bullpen together. Now, the guys they're using are good, but they're untested. Clark Schmidt's got like a 180 ERA. He's a 25-year-old kid. Mike King's got an ERA in the 2s, and he's a kid that just is last year was his rookie year. And then Clay Holmes, who they got out of Pittsburgh, who
my guy Clay Holmes, my fantasy team.
As good as he's been, I think his career ERA as a reliever just got below 4 because he's got a 0.3 ERA with like 40 innings pitched already this year. And that's another one, by the way. They're leaning on him heavily.
Yeah.
So I don't see. And then you got that lineup. Aaron Judge is.
I was just gonna say, but don't. Guy, they're not going to – I mean, it doesn't matter how many runs they give up. I mean, if you got Judge going to hit 60-plus home runs this year, you're going to put up runs to get those. That's what the Mariners don't do. They don't.
Aaron Judge has only had 150 games played once since that rookie year. Stanton already was out for a month. He just got back this week. DJ LeMahieu –
I thought he was good.
Yeah, and DJ LeMahieu hasn't hit 270 since he signed a big contract. He's been a 265, and now this year 250 hitter. As much as I love Rizzo defensively, and I think he's up to 14 bombs, the guy's hitting 211. They got
Matt Carpenter though. All he does is hit home runs.
The guy's in it, right? They just got Josh Donaldson back, who had a big walk-off for him yesterday. But I don't. There's a lot of Aaron Hicks is hitting 211. Rizzo's hitting 210, 215. They're going back and forth with their catchers. One is hitting 280, so I think Trevino's kind of taken over the catcher's role. But Kyle Hishy is his nickname. I think he's down like 150 as your backup catcher. I'm loving Glaber. Glaber's finally back to what Glaber was. I think he's pushing 260 now. He's double-digit home runs. But you got it. IKF has 7 RBIs and a 600 OPS. Phenomenal glove. And that's, again, defense up the middle matters. But I don't know that you're going to have a team that wins 120 games and shortstop drives in 25 RBIs, and it's 2 home runs in a 162-game season. There's a lot of holes that I didn't see with the 2001 Mariners and 98 Yankees that this team has. And health is a big question. You're asking a lot of guys in that lineup that don't go 6 months to go 6 months. And so we'll see. Well, I think they won 100. They're basically sitting at 40 already in the first week of June. So I don't think 100 wins is ridiculous to win 60 July, August, September, and 3 weeks of June. But I think 100 is probably where they tap out.
100. Well, I mean, I can't argue with anything you said, Barcot, but they're looking good, and I like how they're. I mean, I don't like, but they're putting up runs. So that helps me lean towards they're legit, just like you've been saying all year, well-rounded team. And going back to the pitching, we were talking about the Mariners and the Mariners and Yankees. It's funny because we're talking, as myself a Mariners fan and as you a Yankees fan, we were talking about the pitching staff giving up home runs. So the Yankees are the best, only giving up 38 home runs, right? And guess
I think we did like 85.
And the Mariners have given up 72 home runs, and they're the worst.
Yeah. Okay.
Pitching staff.
Yeah,
so
and
that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the Mariners starters. I mean, every time I see a freaking starter, they may not give up anything else, but they're giving up that big fly when it hurts the most. And then it just seems that way too many home runs. And then, like I said, Sergio Romo gave up 19 home runs in 3 pitches or whatever the other day in the last 2 games. So, I mean, damn, poor guy. I mean, it's all over.
I also think, and I realize they've got some guys that can, especially in the bullpen, that can hit triple digits on that velocity. But that rotation Flexen's not a big strikeout guy. Obviously, Marco's not a big strikeout guy. So there's not a lot of like dominating,
Kirby and Gilbert. Kirby and Gilbert are your strikeout guys. And then Robbie Ray is not even really supposed to be a strikeout guy. He just is,
Right.
he doesn't throw a whole bunch of he doesn't get a whole lot of strikeouts, but Gilbert and Kirby are your strikeout guys.
Right.
But then again, you can't give up these home runs whether you're a strikeout guy or not.
And that's the other piece of it that I was getting to is that, like you say, they're not only are they giving up a lot of home runs, it's not like they're giving up 65 solo shots. So between giving up a walk and then because I'm not a dominant 98, 100-mile-an-hour fastball guy that can come at you with a 92-mile-an-hour slider, now I'm probably giving it, the whips are probably a little bit high. Probably going to give up a base hit here, a walk there, and then like you said, then that's that untimely bomb in the 5th inning when we're up 2-0, and like in the course of 5 pitches, I've given up a single, maybe hit a guy, giving up a big fly. I mean, that's the issue when you don't have enough guys that. And the one thing I'll say about the Yankees, you got 3 guys that can go out and light it up. I mean, Jameson Taillon's at 95. You got Garrett Cole's at almost 12 strikeouts per 9. Severino's the guy that throws 98, 99. So you have guys in that rotation that can get outs, and they don't have to worry about the defense behind them. I don't know that the Mariners have enough guys to do that, and that is what lends to giving up the home runs, because you're trying to nibble around, and then when you fall behind, now I've got to throw them fastballs, and they can just tee off.
And I'm really saddened to see that Matt Brash, who we talked about before, couldn't find the strike zone. Dude, that guy is your flamethrower, man. And not being able to get into, watch everything that he's done down in AAA, but just in my opinion, from the few times that I've seen him throw, and we've talked about this offline, we might have talked about it on the show too last week or 3 weeks ago, but man, if that guy could find the strike zone, he's your, not to compare him to Garrett Cole, but he's your guy who could get you a lot of strikeouts in that in a 9-inning game and get you a quality start, go 7, get you 9, 10, 11 strikeouts if he could just find the damn strike zone. So I'm a little disappointed that he couldn't get there, but his replacement, George Kirby, right now is doing just fine. Mariners just have to score some runs.
Right. Absolutely.
So what do you think of Judge and the 60 homers? You talked about that a little bit, right? Did I already ask that? But you think he just stayed healthy because he's only played 100 and doesn't really get the whole game, the whole season under his belt? I mean, he's been okay so far. I mean, decent health-wise, right?
Yeah, and I think what they did last year helped with him. And what I mean by that is last year, I don't know that he ever actually went on the disabled list. I do know that I think, played 140 games. But I know early in the year, he and Stanton were getting kind of that NBA treatment, where you have that night where we're going to rest you, whatever they call that.
What do we call that? Oh, I got to look it up. Damn, we just talked about that.
We talked about it a couple shows ago. I know what we talked about.
And we did the same thing last time too. We couldn't remember what the hell it was. We're going to come up with it though.
But so they did that with he and Stanton last year, and it worked.
Load management.
So they took time off last year. So I take it back. He did play 148 games, and I think he played almost all of them consecutively down the stretch. Because I remember in May, they were flip-flopping where he and Stanton would be, only one of them would be in the lineup at, like 1 or 2 days a week. One of them would sit. And it worked because he got 148 games in last year, and he did hit 39 home runs. Prior to that, he played less than half the COVID season. Played 102 games the year before that, 112 games the year before that. But he still was popping home runs. I mean, even the 102-game season, he hit almost 30. I don't know that he's going to stay healthy enough, because this is a guy that he's just so big and strong. This is a guy that has missed time from simply swinging and then having oblique muscle issues and all kinds of stuff from just the way he swings. Stanton constantly has problems with his calf muscles running down first base. I just don't trust it. I think he's a stud, but I don't trust the health.
Where does the front office of the Yankees come into play with him being on a contract year and giving him this load management kind of thing too, because they don't want to, in a way you would think, not really, but under the with the business part of it, they're probably thinking, man, I hope this guy doesn't hit 60 home runs. I still want to win, but we don't want this guy hitting 60 home runs because then we're really going to have to pay his ass. So where does that come into play, you think, too, in your humble opinion?
I think at the end of the day, they made it very clear.
Sorry, real quick. Do you think they already also do you think they already have a plan to pay him?
I do. I Judge, and here's why I'll give him credit. And I will give the Yankees some credit too to get back to your question. Judge, as I'm sure everybody's heard, really took a gamble on himself because the Yankees did offer him a huge contract. People forget he's 30 years old. He's already in his sixth season. He's already approaching 200 home runs. They offered him, I believe, 7 years at 230. They basically offered him what they offered Cano when Cano walked away and went and signed a 10-year deal with the Mariners. But they offered him over $30 million a year. I think right now he's only making 8 through arbitration, maybe a little bit more. And he turned it down. The Yankees, when asked, I know this through Buster Olney doing an interview, he's asked some of the insiders, and obviously there was anonymous. They said that if he goes out, stays healthy, and by the way, here's back to what you mentioned, I will give the Yankees credit because I think, I'll look it up right now, they are 58 games in, and he's been playing. They have not sat him. So I will say right now, he has played 52 games.
52?
Yeah, he's at 52. So they're not sitting him a lot, right? And they're at 54. I take that back. They're at 54. So he's only sat twice this year. So the Yankees are literally letting him go out and play, knowing that every
they
time
have to, like you said, with freaking Stanton on the IL, right? And then
he just got back, but he was out for a month. Yeah, he just got back.
And then Hicks and who's the other? Hicks and anybody else they have in the outfield. I mean, you have to throw that guy out there.
Joe Gallo. Sorry,
Gallo. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
I think even though he homered yesterday, that was only home run number 5, and I
6,
believe is it okay? And
I think it was 6.
I believe he's still hitting like 170. I mean, he has not been hitting the ball at all for them. But so you're right. They have to roll him out there. I give them credit because they could always just do what they did last year and try to get him to miss 14, 15 games. And, then come back later in the contract negotiation and say, well, you only hit 45 home runs and we really want to pay you $300 million. There's a lot of guys that hit 45. They're letting him go play. And so back to Buster Olney, he said that the insiders said if he goes out and hits 60 home runs, they understand that the contract starts with the number 3 in the front. They understand that. They get that.
Jeez, yeah.
But at the same time, they also understand, hey, it's not like we tried to shortchange the guy. We offered him $30 million a year till the age 37, So it's not like they tried to lowball the guy. So they did.
That money thing is so wild.
I know. So they did.
It's like,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like 3. It's like 3. What is it? 10 years, 300 million. That's 30 million a year. I mean, good Lord, what? I mean, I get it. The more money, the better. Fuck, I wish I could get a fucking raise, and I don't even care if it's fucking $2, but I'd take a raise. But
you might not be packing up right now if you've gotten a raise.
I might not be packing up right now if they didn't cut my fucking pay for no damn reason. Don't get me fired up right now.
I hear you.
But what are you going to do with 270 million that you can't do with 300 million? And then you said he's 30 years old as well, and it's like, in my opinion, baseball players do once they get past the 30s kind of, you still have the opportunity to get better. I don't know how, because once I hit 30, I was downhill from there. But You know,
Well,
you
you and
still
I
have
drink way too much. These guys probably don't do it. They're getting
that is
those
true.
dietitians. They're getting guys that cooking the special meals and all that kind of stuff. So no, I hear
That
you.
is true.
I do.
So I mean, it's like you still have the opportunity to be, you know, to still get that money. But then again, you know, hey, he could be at Albert Pujols and still play when he's 50 years old. So if he gets that right contract and he gets the right thing, I mean, Judge is legit. So
What
shout out
shocks
to
me
him. I
about
can't
him
even be mad.
is he's also hitting 313, and the
There you go.
strikeouts are down.
I like that.
The power numbers are up. I think he's at 52 games in. He's almost 1,100 OPS. And by the way, to his credit, he's not. We talked about this with Bellinger and Christian Yelich. He's not a guy that's ever finished the season at like 220, 180. I think Bellinger hit high 100s, low 200s last year when he was gone for like a couple months. I think Judge's worst year was that year he only played 28 games with COVID when they had the 60-game season. And I think he hit 256. The guy's consistently 270, 275. So even with all the strikeouts, he still puts the ball in play. You know, he's not a guy that's going to be – he's not Joey Gallo. He's going to hit you 45 home runs with a 212 batting average, you know.
As a Yankee hater that I am, I can't even be mad at that because when you tell me those stats about how he, you know, has the decent batting average and not hitting below 200, and, you know, I see where he could have a backbone to stand on to get paid. And I don't fault anybody for getting that money. Nobody's mad at anybody for getting that money.
Go get your money.
Go get that money when these jokers are going to pay so much for these players. Frick yeah, go get that money. So, but it's good to hear that he actually has the right, that he actually holds his own in the box and able to do that. And he's not a liability defensively. He's a great defender. If he can stay healthy, then he's good. But then again, that's everybody's repertoire. Stay healthy and you could be decent, right? So, and when you don't hit under below 200, then hell, sign me up.
I give the guy credit too, and this is where he deserves his money also. He's not a big 6'7", 280-pound guy you bury in right field. He's playing center field. People forget that. He's playing center field for the Yankees. So it's not like you're talking about, he's just another power hitting outfielder that plays right field. No, this dude is playing center field. So I mean, Hicks will play it, but Hicks hitting 211 gets a lot of nights off. And so Aaron Judge plays right field, center field. I mean, he's playing a lot of center field this year, especially when Hicks was on the DL. He becomes the primary center fielder. Last year when Hicks was hurt and Brett Gardner was in all kinds of injury issues and hitting 180 or whatever, Aaron Judge went out and here's the other piece. He also hits leadoff sometimes. And people will forget he doesn't have big RBI numbers because he's their two hitter. He is literally hitting in the spot that Derek Jeter hit for his entire career. And on nights that DJ LeMahieu gets off, Aaron Judge is the leadoff hitter. So there's nights you'll see a 6'7", 280-pound man playing center field and leading off.
And leading off.
Yeah. So the only thing that scares me is they've got Cole for another 6 years. He's got a $300 million contract. The Dodgers is what scares me because the Yankees got out of that financial hole where you had all that luxury tax. And people forget in baseball, once you're in that luxury tax hellhole, and the Yankees were there when they had like A-Rod and all those guys, it's literally $1 for $1. And that's why the Yankees for like 3 or 4 years. So I'll get back to it. People forget the Yankees hadn't signed a big name free agent. They'd signed free agents, but they hadn't gone and spent since CeCe Sabathia. Garrett Cole was the first one after CeCe. So there's like a 9-year window where the Yankees didn't go blow out the bank account because they were trying to get contracts off the books. And in fact, the money had gone up so much that when they signed CeCe at the time, the going rate was 180. By the time they got to Garrett Cole 9 years later, it was like 340. And they took a big risk because remember the Corbin kid in Washington now is like 1-8 with a 6.9 ERA with a $300 million contract or whatever. And Strasburg hasn't been seen. He's been MIA since the World Series. And those three guys were all free agents together. So the Yankees gambled and won that one with Cole. But the Dodgers, the reason I bring them up is they are about to be hit with the biggest luxury tax bill in the history of baseball. They're at $310 million. They have been hovering around 290 for like 5 years, which means every time they sign a free agent, that contract is $1 for $1. if I sign you to a $200 million contract, I also cut baseball $200 million. So it's really a $400 million contract. So that's where they're at. The Dodgers.
I was wondering how that luxury tax works because I saw something that they were a certain amount over and they were going to pay the luxury tax. So the luxury tax, I guess, is just like in Monopoly, right?
Yeah, and it works in steps. You don't go dollar for dollar right away. It's if you're over the luxury tax, you pay X percentage, right? But then it's like if you stay over the luxury tax for X number of years, which is where the Yankees got in a luxury tax hell after towards the end of A-Rod's contract. That's when you have to start going dollar for dollar. And if you remember, it was 6 years ago when they brought up Judge, they brought up the first baseman, they brought up Gary Sanchez, and people forget that was the year that they forced A-Rod into retirement, they forced Teixeira into retirement because they weren't winning games, and it was time to just get rid of the contracts because they literally couldn't sign anything. It was 2016. They couldn't sign free agents because they owed so much money to Major League Baseball, and they were stuck with 40-year-old A-Rod hitting 250 and Teixeira hitting 180. And,
it's funny that you say, oh, go ahead.
No. And so that's why they started forcing those guys into retirement. And then they literally just cut them a big check. Here's the rest of your contract. Please retire. So that they could start getting – that's why A-Rod's contract got off the books so fast. That's why Teixeira's contract got off the books so fast. Because instead of going for like 5 more years, we'll just carry your contract for 2 years and we'll cut you 3 years with a contract right now. Because in the end, it saves us money on the luxury tax. So even though we're going to bite the bullet right now and we'll give A-Rod $90 million to go away, at least we're not paying that luxury deal 5 years from now. And so that's when they called up Judge and Sanchez and all those guys. And I do think they're going to sign Judge. I think that's part of why they not only traded Sanchez, but they traded Urshela with him. I realize they got Donaldson's big contract back, but the Minnesota Twins are paying us, a piece of that. I think because those guys, Sanchez was eligible for free agency. Remember, he's a free agent. He came up with Judge. He came to the same year. So they didn't want to have to get into bidding wars with all these players. I think they wanted to focus on Judge's contract. We'll dump Sanchez. Yeah, we'll take on Donaldson, but we're not paying the whole $25 million. The Twins and Blue Jays owe some of that, and the Braves owe some of that too. That's where he's been the last 3 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say the money runs levels, man. Like these people pay him, these people pay him. That's crazy. It's like the damn Bobby Bonilla, man.
Which, by the way, is about 3 weeks away from Bobby Bonilla Day.
3 weeks. You love Bobby Bonilla Day, bro.
I post that every year.
Every year. I love
Baltimore
it. Every
Orioles.
year.
Like you
Bobby
said,
he was my favorite player, bro. Like when growing up, he was one of my favorite players, hands down. I love that dude.
Yeah. Not only do the Orioles suck, I realize I think that's the Mets contract that he signed. But not only the Orioles suck, they're tied to part of that money for Bobby Bonilla because I think that's where he retired from. And I know that contract is the Mets contract, but I think that when they acquired him, they owe some of that money. So, they may not owe a lot, but they might owe like $600,000 to a guy who retired in 2002 or whatever.
Bobby Bonilla, yeah. I was going to say real quick, we need to close out the show because we can go on and on and on and on and on and on all day, every day, forever. And we will because you're going to have a neighbor, soon. But I did want to say this before I forget. And FYI, everybody, when you're listening, don't tell Teresa Hall. She doesn't need to know what's going on. Moms does not need to know what's happening. I've been held in a secret for the last few weeks, so we're going to keep the secret going. But when you were mentioning A-Rod earlier and you said he only hit 250, right? The league average right now is like 230. So 6 years ago, they were cutting people for hitting 250 or whatever, or trying to get rid of a 40-year-old for hitting 250 when you got, Pujols still going.
Cano was walking around getting multiple contracts hitting 150,
Yeah, right. So that's kind of funny, but so that's hilarious. I love it. All right, brother. Well, I know you had a long day at school doing absolutely nothing. I know how you work over there. And plus you just said you're already and you already said you're tapped out. You got a few papers to grade for those seniors.
I'm just here for basketball. Just kind of basically November through March, I was just there for basketball. Now I'm just there to coach basketball again.
Love it. I can't even be mad at you.
April and May was the only time I was there to actually do my job.
April and May.
Yeah.
And half of that was spring break.
Yeah, there's a lot of spring break in there.
I love it. Anything else you want to add on to baseball before we get out of here?
No, man. I think we're good. Other than keep that fantasy baseball league. I didn't know it was a free one. I thought we talked about $20, and now I'm a little disappointed that I'm on fire in a free league. But
I should have just told you to send me the $20 and said yeah, and then say you lost at the end. But hey, we should do that though. We'll talk to the guys once we get towards the end. We'll brainstorm. But I was thinking doing a playoff, like once we get the playoff bracket, everybody who wants in, let's just say I think it was 6, right? Is that what I said it at? 6?
I think it was 6. That's why even people that are like, that's why people that are even like 4 and 5 or whatever the league records are now are still like 88% to get in. I'm
5 and 3, I think, baby.
Okay.
So don't knock me in. When we play again, I will whoop that ass. But yeah, we'll do like a some kind of pool, and then I also want to do, maybe we'll figure it out in time where you do like the pool for the winner, first and second or something, but then also do like a weekly highest points, kind of like a fantasy football type thing.
Oh yeah. Now you want,
because I know you like that since you've already got that a couple times, right?
Yeah, I've gotten that 4 times in 5 weeks. That's when I've been on.
Yeah,
fire.
See. So yeah, but
now you want to do it, and then once you institute that rule, and I'm like middle of the pack in scoring for like a month.
Yep, exactly. Hey, I was checking my stats today actually, and I'm like worst, damn near worst, just like the Mariners and everything, bro. It's crazy. So, but yeah, that's fun too. Fantasy baseball, baby. I enjoy it. It's fun. Keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hey, we kept this under an hour, I believe. That's a win. Anonymous Big Homie will be back soon. He's being anonymous just like he always is. Don't forget. Jeez, weird. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show on whichever podcast platform you listen to. Check us out on Sports Fix with Stix and the Anonymous Big Homie YouTube channel. Go to thisfunner.com for more podcast and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015. And can't thank Mr. Barcot enough for coming on, bro. Appreciate you. I'll see you soon.
Absolutely, brother.
And we'll be in touch here real soon, obviously. And like I said, tonight, Robbie Ray. Need Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray. I hear you, brother.
Need Robbie Ray to come through. So, all right, bro. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks, man. We'll talk soon, bro.
Yeah, take care, man.
All right, you too, man. Later.
That was Sports Fix with Stix. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. If you want to join the show, use the hashtag StixandSports.
Winners don't make excuses.